With regards to the SEC Ripple case, the SEC has said that they have quickly filed an appeal against the judge's decision. The fact that this happened makes people question the legal standing of the chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission and the legal issues that could come up if the chair is fired. A report from Unchain also says that Jim Gensler will be fired no matter who wins this time. Some people don't think Trump will be able to fire the head of the SEC if he is elected president because this move is likely to be challenged in court. Boom. On the other hand, the chair of the SEC is usually left behind when a new government takes over. While Joe Biden was president, this was the case with Jay Clayton. Sources say that if Harris wins the election for president, Jim Gensler could be fired even if the president doesn't back him. Another opinion is that this probably won't happen, but if it does, it could lead to a Harris government. One story that has been shared many times was written by Helena Tourette for Fox Business. The post has been seen 74,000 times. When Tourette called the Securities and Exchange Commission, they told him that the information would soon be open to the public. It is important to note, though, that this comment does not necessarily mean that the papers have not been sent yet. In addition, Tourette said that the SEC had sent in forms that did not match the date. But there was neither a clear explanation nor strong proof to support this claim. Some people have said that the filing wasn't made public, which is a useless point of view since there is no private file that can be seen by the public. During an interview on Good Morning Crypto, lawyer James Murphy said that the filing is likely to be approved by the court if it hasn't already been turned down. It's scary that the Securities and Exchange Commission has said things about how the SEC handles filings and the chance of legal battles. Even though it's possible that the SEC's actions were not the right ones, it is important to think about what might happen and any civil challenges that might be made. People aren't sure if the information is correct because the Securities and Exchange Commission is said to have filed Form C on time. Some people thought that something went wrong with the technology on the very last day that the Securities and Exchange Commission had time to file the paperwork. This is amazing when you think about how quickly papers can be sent through an electronic filing system. Being sent in real time is how most papers work, so this is not a rare event. Still, the SAC's reaction to the problem was a bit of a mess. Stewart wrote another post with a picture of a Taylor Swift ticket and said that just because there is a secondary market for it doesn't mean it is a security, just like selling cryptocurrency isn't a security. The Securities and Exchange Commission is run by Kim Jane Gensler, who tells the agency to go after Bitcoin as if it were real money. This is silly and embarrassing at the same time. Paul Graywell, who is the top legal officer of Coinbase, sent a response to this post. He said that it doesn't look like Taylor Swift is doing anything to make the Swift environment more valuable. When the SEC does something, the name Swiftie is never used, even though Taylor Swift wants to make the Swiftie setting more appealing. The way the Securities and Exchange Commission handled the case makes people wonder if the information they got is true and if more investigations should be done. Some people think that the decisions made by the Securities and Exchange Commission were careless and did not follow the rules that guide the securities market. Additionally, a lot of people have said they are unhappy with the steps the SEC has taken and the chance that more information may be revealed. It has not yet been decided how likely it is that more information about the case will be made public. In this text, the author talks about the ongoing court battle between Ripple and the SEC over the claims of helping and supporting that have been made against Chris Larsson and Brad Garlinghouse. The author says that Ripple keeps making silly claims even though they both want to keep the gold ecosystem strong when it comes to the appeals process. One more interesting thing is that the author says that part of the Ripple appeal is an attack on Chris Larsson and Brad Garlinghouse, which surprised the author. The Securities and Exchange Commission chose not to hold a trial in a district court for the aiding and abetting case against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsson. They are now trying to appeal the decision. Since the SEC only chose to drop the claim of institutional sales and not the claim of automated sales in his speech, Rispoli said that this approach is both possible and legal. Because they had to agree for the charges to go forward, the author doesn't understand why Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsson's lawyers did it. They don't think that the programming side was left behind. They want to know if this is true and if it was always an option. Also, it's interesting that the author says there is good news about XRP, a story from Cointelegraph that doesn't question the fact that XRP isn't a security. This comes as a surprise because Cointelegraph often writes news about XRP that is both false and biased against it. An assistant named Ashley Prosper, who lives in the area, has spoken out about her worries about what would happen if the SEC won the case on automated sales. This, in her opinion, would make it harder for the normal person to get XRP. Her belief is that Ripple will keep stacking for as long as they can, which could be their last chance. Finally, the writer brings up the ongoing court battle between Ripple and the SEC. In this way, the author shows that there may be a more fair and balanced result for people who own XRP. The person talking is a well-known figure in the Bitcoin business, and they are talking about how the Trump administration's choice to lead the Securities and Exchange Commission might have an impact. It shouldn't worry anyone about what the law says about XRP and deals on the secondary market, in his opinion, and that the process for appealing would only make it harder for XRP sales to spread. Torres says that she is not making any choices about general secondary market deals. This is very important to him and other people who are worried about the Bitcoin market. Another thing that the speaker talks about is the thought that Kamala Harris's team is looking for people to replace Gary Gensler as chair of the SEC. He is not sure about the attack on Bitcoin in general. He thinks that the election might move more slowly if the side of the line that is being attacked wins. He hasn't seen anything from Harris that makes him think she supports cryptocurrency or thinks this is important to her. Unchained says that Harris's transition team is now talking to possible candidates to replace him as chair of the SEC with Gary Gensler. A law professor at Georgetown University named Chris Brower. One possible option for Gensler is Erica Williams, who is the head of the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. The people in these groups are said to have more good views on cryptocurrency than Guns does. On the other hand, the vice president hasn't said anything in public or private about who will replace Gensler, and it's not clear how seriously she is thinking about these options. People worry that they will lose votes from the Progressive Party, which thinks that crypto has gotten away with bad things, and the speaker is hesitant to report on this rumor because she doesn't think it will help her get new swing votes. He thinks that no group of voters will vote against a candidate because they support crypto, because that group has nothing to gain or lose from the election and only they can say what they think since they haven't looked into it. The speaker is unhappy with the situation, even though there isn't much evidence to show that they care about cryptocurrency and that it would affect their vote. Thinks that some voters would be against cryptocurrency and that the party would lose some of those voters. This is true even though he is not a financial advisor and doesn't want to hear Harris words for the next 4 to 8 years. The speaker says that he or she is hopeful that the current situation will not last until they hear each other again. He thought it would be a bad idea to be forced to listen to Harris words. As the speaker talks about the current controversy surrounding the SEC and the possible impact that the Trump administration may have on the cryptocurrency business, they stress how important it is to avoid unnecessary risks. He believes that the current administration's focus on getting more people to vote and other policy issues could slow down progress and make people less interested in the Bitcoin business.